excuse if this video is a little overly edited or if I come off sounding a little different. I've unfortunately come down with a cold, but this is something that I really wanted to talk about, so let's get on with it. You know, one of my favorite things ever when it comes to No More Heroes as a franchise is the music. The music is always amazing on every single one of these games. They always sound just the kind of music you can just sing along to, and a lot of the songs do have lyrics.
I see no more. When the wind blows, a virgin child comes, sing a song, such a pretty melody never heard before. No more lullabies. The virgin just as them.
I wanted to talk about one particular game soundtrack because I think it has the best soundtrack in terms of all the No More Heroes games. And when it comes to all the No More Heroes games, it's probably the one that people didn't play the most. And that's Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes. Now, I know it's on the Switch, so the chances are you've probably played this game, but I know because of the critical reception and a few other details, it wasn't exactly the most popular of all of them. But one thing is for sure, the music in Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes is by far some of the best in the entire franchise. You know, there are a couple of really well-made songs in previous No More Heroes games that immediately stand out as one of my favorites. Philistine from No More Heroes 2 specifically. Obviously, the main track of the original game and several others are all just absolute bangers, and they are all just fantastic. And I love so many of them that I still listen to this day. Pleather for Breakfast, a song specifically created for the Bad Girl boss fight in the original No More Heroes. It's just such an attractive song, and if you didn't know, most of the music I use on this channel is all No More Heroes related. The background track you're hearing right now in this particular video is from No More Heroes. When it comes to the grand majority of music I do on live streams or I do on, you know, videos like these, they're always from No More Heroes, but they're all from this game, specifically Travis Strikes Again. And part of me wanted to know why I liked this particular game soundtrack more than the others. You know, like I said, the previous games, they had a fantastic music and I love them, but something about Travis Strikes Again just has just a really catchy beat on so many of those tracks that even the level select music was something that I ended up using in YouTube videos because it sounded so good to me. So I tried to find out. I looked up a lot of particular songs that I really enjoyed from Travis Strikes Again, and I was also fortunate to be able to come into contact with the music producer of this game. Now, I really do apologize if I mispronounced the name horrendously. Unfortunately, I am not, you know, Japanese, and I don't know how to read Japanese names very well. But the music producer of Travis Strikes Again is a DJ, and he goes by the name of MEEBEE, or also known as Kazuhiro Abo. MEEBEE is just the nicest guy ever. I was looking through the songs that I particularly loved about this, and very quickly I realized that so many of the songs are by the same person. At the time, I didn't really know who was the music producer, but I knew that I loved the music so much to the point where I needed to find out who it was. And MEEBEE was very kind to actually answer a few questions for us that I wanted to ask him in regards to his music and his work on No More Heroes. And here's what he had to say about it. Now, the first question I asked MEEBEE was, what would you call your style of music? MEEBEE responds with, There is no definite name for my music style, but I personally call it Neo-Japan style. I think that the characteristic of that style is that it mixes sounds with various roots, which I think is linked to the current social situation in Japan. Unbelievable to people outside of Japan, but until recently, there were many people who believed that Japan was a single ethnic state. In fact, there are many people with various ethnic roots, but apparently they are the same Asian, so it is difficult to distinguish them, and that was hidden by discrimination. However, as the younger generation became more familiar with friends of various roots around 2020, even in Japan, even through a thin sense of diversity, it began to sprout. In terms of politics, Japan is not a good situation for flattering, but it is hopeful that various cultures will be mixed and new works will be born. Japan today has a dystopian side like Neo Tokyo, drawn by Otomo in Akira. I think that the sound that cut out the atmosphere of this country of this era matched the worldview of Travis Strikes Again, which was a little decadent. Devin and Tokyo Trill, who rap with the theme song On Your Mark, Get Set, Go for Silverface, are rappers with African American fathers and Japanese mothers as parents. Musicians of various cultural roots living in Japan cooperated to create this OST. Now, when I asked him, what would you call your style of music, I wasn't really expecting an answer like this. I was expecting, maybe he would say, a particular genre or whatever, or maybe a style that is influenced by another genre, or, something along those words. But no, he has a very particular political message. Now, my second question was, what made you want to create the music that you make? What inspired you? That sort of thing. And he answers with, I've been interested in making soundtracks for video games since childhood. The interesting thing about soundtracks is that your sound reaches an unspecified number of users other than your fans. My fans buy and listen to my albums, but I think few people have ever heard my music before Travis Strikes Again. When Mr. Suda explained the concept of video games going into video games, it was important to face games that is playing, and music was also playable. I think it was important and started making it. So this OST music includes some level of play. For example, the phrase of another song is hidden in the song, or the name of the person is engraved in the waveform of the song. Another important point was that dance music was the main focus. I'm a DJ, and DJs play music. If you keep playing 8 Heart's theme song, Welcome to Hell, a beat without a song will be played on the second lap of the loop. This is also designed to allow the player to play the rap on the Travis Strikes Again music themselves. In fact, some hip-hop artists seem to play rap on the beat. I think it's interesting to note that they felt like you needed to be able to essentially play the music like you would play the game. I never really realized that the first time, but then when I went back and played it again once the DLCs dropped, I kind of did notice something along those lines. Like I did, start a new playthrough essentially to collect some of the things that I missed on my first playthrough. And yeah, that is a thing. I actually did not notice that, and I'm not sure if that in particular made me appreciate the music in this game so much more or not. But after realizing that that is a factor in the game, it does make me appreciate it more after knowing. I just wonder if it was like one of those, subconscious things where suddenly I just love the music, not realizing that maybe that's one of the reasons why. But I really appreciate that that is something they decided to go for in this game. And like I said, with the soundtrack being as good as it is, something like this just adds way more to it. So my third and final question for MEEBEE was, what was it like to work with Suda51 for Travis Strikes Again? MEEBEE goes on to say that, quote, I had never made a video game soundtrack in my life before. However, Mr. Suda believed in my senses and gave me 120% confidence in the sound. I did my best to respond to Mr. Suda's kindness. Mr. Suda did not try to make my music more video game music essentially than necessary, and Mr. Suda considered my many experimental ideas with flexible ideas. As a result, I think that an OST with a unique taste has been completed, and the one who made this soundtrack great is the great sound design by Jun Fukuda, who supports the sound of Grasshopper Manufacturer's game. He did the sound design of the whole game with a great sense of balance so that the music I made did not deviate from the worldview. It's also very interesting to know that he's never really made a video game soundtrack before. This is his first foray into it, and it is phenomenal. It is easily one of my favorite soundtracks that I still listen to this day. And I think it says a lot. Like, he's totally new in this endeavor, and yet he comes out just like swinging for the fences. Like, it's just that good. It is a fantastic soundtrack. And I also really appreciate that Mr. Suda51 was kind enough to just trust them entirely when it came to this. And knowing that trust was there, I think it really paid off, considering that the sound design of Jun Fukuda, as MEEBEE mentioned, put that together with MEEBEE's creations, and the soundtrack is just honestly probably the best part of this game. It's probably by far the best part about this game, and I still listen to it on a daily basis. It's that good, and I highly recommend that if you haven't played the game, you at least listen to the soundtrack in some capacity. But I do have something to add when it comes to that. So, unfortunately, one of my favorite tracks of Travis Strikes Again is On Your Mark, Get Set, Go. That is the Silverface boss music, and it is my favorite track in the game by far. I love this song, right? However, the issue I've noticed is that many people don't seem to know what the lyrics are. And so what I decided to do was, you know, I scoured the internet essentially. I looked up to see if I can find the lyrics, because every YouTube upload of the song just doesn't have the lyrics. They just don't know it. And the only thing I can find when it comes to this is just a random Reddit post where someone posts like 1/4 of the song's lyrics, or maybe half of the song's lyrics, which is not ideal for someone who wants to sing along to the song. So, as a way to show appreciation, I did ask MEEBEE to provide the lyrics of this song, and I will be uploading a separate video with that song playable and have the lyrics in the description, so you guys can appreciate the same song that I love too. And maybe finally people on YouTube, or I guess at least on the US side of things, can sing along to the song, because it's easily the best song in the game, to be honest. Now, obviously, MEEBEE has been a awesome dude. He answered my questions, he was super kind, and, you know, without him, we probably wouldn't even have the lyrics of this song that I will be posting in a bit. And I really highly appreciate what he did, so make sure you check him out on Twitter. I'll have a link in the description so you guys can go follow him and support him as well. He also wanted me to let you guys know that if you like the music from Travis Strikes Again, you'll probably like the music that he's made other than the music on Travis Strikes Again. So make sure you search for MEEBEE, that is MEEBEE, on iTunes, Spotify, or Bandcamp. And, you know, check out the music he makes. Maybe it's something that you'll like, and if you do, maybe you'll support him and buy a couple tracks here and there. Specifically, MEEBEE Sampler Volume 1, which can be purchased at Bandcamp, and it's really recommended because apparently a lot of the people who helped make the Travis Strikes Again soundtrack so good alongside MEEBEE actually is participants of that song. So definitely check it out if you already enjoyed the soundtrack like I do. I know I have, and it's just fantastic. Okay, but check it out. I'll have, like I said, I'll have the links in the description to his Bandcamp and to his Twitter. Make sure you guys check it out, support him. He's an awesome guy. He really deserves way more credit than he gets. Please check him out. Oh, and MEEBEE also wanted me to relay one last message to you guys to make sure the appreciation he has for the fans of Travis Strikes Again is well known. And he says to please add that I love all fans who love Travis Strikes Again. And you know what, MEEBEE? Thank you so much for your work. You're a talented individual. Keep up the fantastic work. And yeah, and that's kind of it for you guys. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. プレイならごちょ疲れた体にコンビニ砂糖間違いこのウォール Don't have 言葉赤のバンダナ打ち抜く君ハート